Check your audio so that we know. Let me know if you are ready. This is to allow those who are at home to be able to also be part of it.
Check the audio.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. Betrayal of who you are expected to be. It's a question that goes to everyone. It's a question that affects everyone. It's a question to each and every one of us to ask ourselves whether we are the same persons or not. We were born at a time and we grew up with time. Is it the way you were that you are now? Is this who you are supposed to be that you actually are now? Is this you? Is this you? Is this what you are supposed to be? If we should get a sheep and we get a pig and we throw both of them into a mud, which one will stay? Which one will leave? The sheep will leave, the pig will stay, because it's in line with the nature of the pig to stay, because you squeeze it more and more. No matter how much you squeeze it, from the day we were born, we have been influenced in a lot of ways. We have been informed of a lot of things. We have been trained in a lot of things by our environment. We are victims of those who have spoken to us and we agree with. And sometimes we have to cooperate before people can tell us who we are and we accept it like that. So somehow, this is a question to ask us whether this is you or not. It's going to be a very long story, but we'll begin the journey gradually. And we'll begin to look for you and ask you, is this you? To ask you, is this you? Like somebody who came to look for a mullah, came to look for a scholar. He had never met him before, he didn't recognize him. And when he got to see him, he said, please, I'm looking for the mullah in this area. And he asked, what is his name? That one mentioned his name. So, well, if that's the person you are looking for, I'm also looking for him too. Looking for him too. He said, but I say, honestly, I'm also looking for myself. Apart from my name that you know, I'm still searching for who I am, for what I am, what I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do. Without having to squeeze yourself into a hole that's not meant for you. You really want to know who you are. And so this is a journey into self-discovery of who you are and into knowing your place in life and who you are supposed to be. What we manifest in our lives is a reflection of what is deep inside us. Our beliefs about our own worth, our right to happiness, what we deserve in life. When those beliefs change, then your life changes. When you know precisely who you are, you will know whether you are a crocodile that is behaving like a lizard. And you will know whether you are a catfish that is pretending to be a shark. You will know the difference between you as a worm and a plate of spaghetti. You understand very well that if you make yourself to be a lightweight, nobody will create space for you. You understand that the way you present yourself to the world is the way the world will accept you. However, there are some people, no matter how much you present yourself, they still want to squeeze you into some holes that are not yours. They want to call you some names that you don't bear. And they want to define yourself. If you don't redefine yourself, people will define you and give you some definitions that are not appropriate for you. If you don't know how to redesign yourself, people will design a life for you and they'll dictate to you how you should live your life. If you don't re-engineer yourself, people are going to come up with some botanical monstrosity that is going to look like you but not exactly like you. So, is it the way people treat us that determine who we are, or the way we treat ourselves that determine how people should treat us? These are some of the questions we are going to look at. But let me ask, could it be that you came from a dysfunctional home and your emotional needs were not met when you were young? Because there's no way we can divorce our growing up with who we have become now. Dysfunctional homes are those in which so many things happen, and we'll look at some of them. Because the way you grew up, the home you came from, must have been in one form or the other part of the composite for who you are now. If you are from a home where there was compulsive behavior, maybe they had some compulsive eating habit, compulsive working habit, maybe you had parents that were workaholics, maybe you had people whose diets were messed up by eating what is not lawful. Maybe you are from a home where people had a lot of these problems of substance abuse. It is possible that we say you must have been from a dysfunctional home. If you are from a home where battering of spouse or battering of children was a watchword in that home was dysfunctional. Maybe in a home you were experiencing inappropriate sexual behavior on the part of the parents towards a particular child, ranging from seductiveness to incest. It is possible that you have affected who the person is now, who you are now. If it was from a home where there was constant arguing, constant quarreling, constant tension, and a whole lot of prolonged ennui and boredom, it is possible that that is part of what has formed your life now. That means you are from a dysfunctional background. Maybe there was extended periods of time which parents kept quarreling and they kept malice with each other. They refused to speak to one another. Or their favorite ways of punishing each other is giving each other a cold shoulder. A cold shoulder. That means you are from a dysfunctional home. Many people have suffered this in one form or the other. A parent who cannot relate to others in the family, a parent who avoids the other members of the family and still blame them for that, or a parent or parents that have extreme rigidity about money, extreme rigidity about religion, about work, about use of time, about display of affection, about sex, about television, about housework, about sports, about politics, about almost everything. They are very rigid and hardliners. Parents who are obsessed with some of these things we have mentioned, including matters of intimacy. With all of this kind of emphasis on rules rather than relating, it will have affected who you are as we speak now. You may accept it, you may not accept it, but one form of it or the other was have affected your growing up, was have affected your ideas about life, was have affected your outlook on things generally. There is absolutely no way we can completely escape from all of this. If one parent displays any of these behaviors we have talked about, or obsessions in any of these things, these behaviors are damaging to a child. In fact, it's going to reformat the psyche of that child to suit the environment from which the child has grown up. If both parents are caught in any of these unhealthy practices, the result will even be much more detrimental to the growth and uprightness of that child. And then sometimes, if you notice, parents often practice complementary kinds of pathology. Let's say, for example, if the father was an alcoholic, then the mother may be a compulsive eater. Sometimes they now begin to struggle to control each other's addictions. If you notice very well, in some families, the mothers are the dominant ones, and the fathers are the resilient. The fathers are they are the calmer ones. They are the more patient ones. They are the ones that are less of disciplinarians. They are the ones who indulge the child some more. This is going to affect the psyche of the child when the child grows up, whether as a male or as a female. In most homes, where you see that is the mother that calls the shot, is the mother that decides and determines whatever is to be done in the house. If that particular child is not careful, the child may most likely relive that kind of experience over and over again when the child or the person becomes adult. And In some families, too, you see that it's the father that's the dominant one. But he was the dominant to the extent of being oppressive. He dominated and he oppressed. When you see that, you need to see many years after what his sons will become, or many years after the kind of men that the wives he married. Some of these things, very strangely, people actually thought they know. They actually thought it's okay. They actually thought they can change it. They actually thought nothing will go wrong. They thought they are in control. They thought they can. After all, I'm an adult now. I can decide for myself. Somewhere along the line, you see that they just find ways to go back to what happened in their family. So they relive that experience all over again. Homes where the woman was the dominant one, it is most likely that when the son grows up, he is either going to be scared of women and he will find ways of oppressing women to the extent that they will not be as dominant to him the way his mother was dominant to his father, or he will follow exactly the same pattern of being the docile one and he will look for a woman that is dominant. Why? Because he trusted his mother, he loved his mother, and he believed his mother was right. So he will look for a woman that will be as dominant as the mother, because his definition of effectiveness is dominance. His definition of a good mother is dominance. His understanding of a woman that takes good care of the home is a dominant mother. He doesn't know the difference anymore between dominance and appropriateness in how to handle situations. If his father was a woman beater also, it is possible that he also believes that he has to marry a woman that he can beat. And he will believe somehow in his psyche, deep in the recess of his mind, that if you don't beat a woman regularly, you are not a strong man. Now you see these things happen sometimes. Some people are conscious of it, some people are not conscious of it. In fact, sometimes, this is a theory, and I just call it a fact now, but it's in fact a theory, that the type of person that your father married may likely be the type of woman you are also going to marry as a man. It is likely also that the kind of man your mother married is the kind of man you may likely marry as a woman too. You will not know why, but you just see that it happens like that. So for people who grew up from dysfunctional families of this sort, a lot of things must have happened to them. So you have to ask yourself, is this you? Are you the one that grew up from the home where the mother was the dominant one? Are you the one that grew up from the home where the father was an oppressive one? Where the father was a woman beater? Where the father was a womanizer? Where the mother was fetish in nature? Where the mother knew all sorts of sorcerers to do some things for themselves? Some of these things happen. Then let me ask if this is you also. Having received little real nurturing yourself, do you try to fill these unmet needs by becoming the caregiver, especially to men or women who appear in some ways to be needy? Is this you that has discovered that you didn't get enough care when you were growing up? Or maybe somehow along the line you just became a caregiver on your own. When you became a caregiver, or you grew up to be a caregiver, it happens that some of the professions you even find yourself will be in line with that, because you have this urge to meet the needs of others. You find yourself being a nurse, especially, because you know that you have that urge to fulfill the need of other people. Is this you? You want to fulfill the need of others, and you like to fix people who are broken. Then you find yourself becoming a therapist. You find yourself becoming a social worker. You are drawn to those who are needy. You compassionately identify with their pain, and you seek to release it from them in order to ameliorate your own pain. You feel what they feel, you felt what they have felt, and you know how bad it is to feel the way they feel. So you take it upon yourself to relieve them of the bad things that they have. You wish to be loved, so you love them back. And you show so much affection towards them. So the people who are sick and needy are very attractive to you. If care is not taken, and this is you, especially the way the person you are, it may affect your choice of lover. It may affect your choice of partner. A man or woman who appeals to you may not be somebody who is necessarily penniless or somebody who has ill health, but the person may be somebody who is unable to relate well to others. Maybe somebody that is cold and unaffectionate, maybe somebody that is stubborn or selfish, or somebody that is sulking and melancholic. It may be somebody who is a bit irresponsible, and somebody who is unable to make commitment, or somebody who is not able to be faithful. What this portends is that you respond to the need of others with compassion, with wisdom, in order to improve their life, and in order to improve yours too. Maybe this is you. If this is you, there's a caveat. There's need to be cautious. There's need to be careful. There's need not to be carried away helping others and not helping yourself. And we shall get to where we begin to discuss what could be wrong with you when you are a caregiver, when you are somebody who is affectionate about others, and when you instinctively, without realizing it, seek out people who have problems to keep around you. You surround yourself with people who have all sorts of mental illness or mental health issues in one form or the other. Maybe this is you. Allah knows best. And this is why you see in some instances, the choice of marriage is mostly between two opposites. The wife will be loving and caring. The husband will be cruel and wicked. The wife, or in some instances, the husband will be the kind, jovial, and compassionate one. But the woman will be the cruel, will be the mean, and will be the wicked one. The man may be the considerate one, and the woman will become inconsiderate. Somehow along the line, these people found ways of attracting one another, and they didn't know how it got to be that such a lovely woman will marry such a wicked man, and such a nice man will be married to such a cruel woman. Because one person is needy of another person, and the other person is always seeking for the one that is needy. The way doctors always look for patients, and the way patients always attract doctors. And that's all. Then is this you? Because you are never able to change your parents into the loving, warm caretakers that you long for, you responded deeply to the familiar type of emotionally unavailable people in your life, whom you can again try to change through your love. Is it possible that you struggled with your parents as a young person, but now the only people that are attractive to you are men that are emotionally unavailable? You get to see that it will be fine if you brought all your sympathy into a relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. If you brought all your compassion into a marriage, there's nothing wrong with that. If you brought all of your understanding into a marriage, it's okay. It's okay so long as you do that with healthy men. Or as a woman, as a man, if you do that with healthy women. But men with whom there was some hope of getting your own needs met, these are the men you are supposed to bring your sympathy to. Men who can be sympathizing, who can care for you. These are the men you are supposed to fall in love with. But are you one of those people who are not attracted to healthy men as a woman, who will give you what you need in life? Maybe such men are boring. Are you the kind of a man that's only attracted to the women who are not going to be healthy, who are not going to love you back, but women that will put him on edge and give him a lot of trauma, a lot of trouble? No. Some men will see a lady that is kind-hearted, a lady that is caring, a lady that is loving, but they will consider her to be too boring. A lady that is religious, a lady that everything she does, she say, I have faith in God, I believe in God. They consider such ladies to be boring. They consider them as ladies who don't like to catch fun. They see ladies that if you give her one penny like this, she will forever be grateful for it. They consider her to be boring and outdated. They see ladies who is ready to manage with whatever situation they find backwards. But they look for action. They look for ladies that will put them on edge. They look for ladies that will give them trouble. That is the one they feel is the real lady. And so much kindness, so much care. You don't really fall in love with that kind of man. Sometimes he looks boring, he looks stupid. Sometimes he looks too religious, he looks too holy. And because you are looking for some action that you don't even understand what you are looking for. You want to be caring, you want to be loving, but you are not looking for people that are loving and caring. In other words, this could be you. Something fundamentally is wrong with the way you are looking at life. You are looking for love where it doesn't exist. Or maybe you are looking for action where this action is going to render you very useless and frustrated. You are attracted to men who replicated for you the struggle you endured when you were small, when you were growing up. When you try to be good enough, when you try to be loving enough, when you try to be worthy enough, when you try to be helpful enough, and when you try to be smart enough to win love and attention and approval from people, then you now go to marry or get yourself preoccupied with people that have problems. People you have to prove your love to. People you have to prove your worth. Not people who are ready to accept you as you are. If this is your psyche, you see something fundamental is wrong somewhere. Maybe also you are somebody who is terrified of abandonment. And because of that, you will do anything to keep a relationship from dissolving, even when this relationship is killing you. Abandonment is a very strong word, as it is said. It implies being left behind, it implies being allowed to die, it implies being left not to survive, or being left to survive alone, or being left to care for yourself. There is the literal abandonment and there is the emotional abandonment. When people fear the terror and the emptiness that comes with abandonment, they are ready to do anything to keep a relationship in place. And that is why you see when the man fears being left behind by his wife, he will condone anything, he will accept anything, he will endure anything, and he will tolerate anything because he fears being left behind. He fears being left alone. He fears being abandoned. It happens the other way around. When a woman has so much fear of abandonment, then she will be ready to stay in an unhealthy relationship. Maybe it is also you that almost nothing is too much as a trouble. Almost nothing takes too much of your time. Almost nothing is too expensive if it's going to help the man or the woman that you're involved with. Maybe this is you. You can go to any length to do things to satisfy somebody else, even when you are gaining nothing out of that relationship. Sometimes you buy all sorts of things for her, all sorts of material things to improve her self-image as a man. Maybe as a woman, you buy all sorts of things for him to improve his life and his self-image. Maybe when he's doing something wrong, you are the one interested in looking for a therapist for him and begging him to go for therapy. Or maybe the other way around. She is the one that has problems, but you find ways of going through all sorts of things to even change your location because of her. Because you believe that, well, this place is not good enough for her, or is not good enough for her job. You are ready to sacrifice everything because of that. Maybe you are giving him half or all of your property and your possessions so that he won't feel inferior to you, or so that she also can measure up with her peers. The man will buy all sorts of things, he will provide all sorts of things for the woman just to make sure that she is happy, to make sure that she is in tune with what is happening in her time. Maybe you are the one who does all of these things because you just want to help the person. You are doing all of these things, going to all length to make that person's life to be okay. I remember a situation of a lady that is running around with her husband's CV. The man refuses to look for a job. It's a woman that is running up and down, ensuring that he gets a job. The man will just sit and say he doesn't want to work in this place, he doesn't want to work in that place. Maybe you are the one, that lady that is running around with the CV, then you get a job for him, he will refuse to show up in that place of work. Or he will show up, work there for 2 months and resign. And he says the boss annoyed him. And he come back home and sit down. And when he sits down at home, you will do everything in your power to ensure that you are feeding him, ensure that you are clothing him, ensure that you are putting money in his pocket so that he doesn't feel sad. Ensure that you are doing everything to satisfy him so that he will not feel bad, so that he will not think you are the only one with the money and she doesn't have the money. Many ladies will do that. They will even go and lobby for job or for contract for their husbands. And this man will not go anywhere. He will sit down and he will be enjoying all the freebies that come from the wife. And this woman will still remain like that. She will still do everything she can do to help him so that he will not be sad, so that he will not be thinking, so that things may not go wrong with him. Allahu Akbar. I've seen a whole lot of that before. Maybe you are the one also who is accustomed to a lack of love in personal relationships. So you are willing to wait, you are willing to hope, and you are willing to try harder in order to make the marriage to work. Maybe you are the one that you assume that every nuance or every behavior that comes from your partner is a good hope for you. You are very happy with little crumbles of love and affection. This man doesn't laugh, he doesn't joke, he doesn't smile. He keeps malice every time. You have to be tiptoeing around him just to make sure that he's happy. So once in a while, when you have almost killed yourself trying to make him happy, he will now smile a little, and then you go and start thanking God. We thank God, he smiled today. Oh, I thank God, he smiled. I thank God, I greeted him and he responded. Maybe this man wanted to go out, and you have been saying, please stay with me at home. Don't leave me alone in the house. I feel lonely when you go out like that. He will go out from morning and he will come back 12 midnight. Lo and behold, there was this day that he went out and he came back very early. He came back 9 p.m. And the lady was like, Alhamdulillah, I thank God. He came back early today. Not realizing that his girlfriend traveled. That is why he came back early. Not realizing that his girlfriend was having her menses. That is why he came back early. Not realizing that he has finished spending all the money he had. That was why he came back early. But because he came back 9 p.m. instead of 1 a.m., are you this woman that feels so happy that somebody gave you just crumbles of love that you deserve, but he heard it from you? He gives you leftovers of affection that is your right, and then you are happy that is able to give you just 1%, and you go and start thanking God on his behalf. You are this woman who live on hope that tomorrow will be different. Or you are this man who live on hope that one day your wife will change. You are waiting for her to change. And this is actually more comfortable when you wait for her to change than changing yourself and your own life. You prefer to pray. You prefer to hope that your wife will change for better. And what has she been doing? A woman that will not take care of the home, will not take care of the family, will not do anything to make the husband to be happy, will not show any concern about the life of the husband, will not even for once ask my husband, what is wrong with you? My husband, why are you feeling sad? My husband, why are you feeling worried? And lo and behold, one of these days, when the husband comes home and he meets his food ready, he will now be so happy that, thank God, at least today, I made my food ready. Not knowing that that's the same food that was burnt and she refused to eat. And then she left it for the husband to eat. And the man will have to make do with the little. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar Kabira. Are you this man that the woman would turn the back to him when they are in the bed? And it's only whenever she wants that he can make love to her. And this had gone on for a long time, about after 6 months. This lady now eventually said, okay, what do you want to do? Go ahead and do what you need to do with me. And then she made herself available and told him to please cover her up when he has finished. And then the man is happy that at least he was able to make love to his wife today. Are you this man that have to make do with whatever thing you are presented with, that has to make do with whatever crumble of love and affection that you have? Maybe you are willing to take far more than 50% of the responsibility in the family. Maybe you are even willing to take the guilt and the blame in any relationship. Are you this person that before you say anything, your first word in your statement is sorry? Maybe the first statement you ever make before you say anything is I'm sorry. You apologize even before you are told your offense. You tiptoe your spouse just to ensure that he didn't realize that you are still breathing. Are you this person who is willing to take guilt for everything, and you are willing to accept the blame for all things, even when you are being cheated and oppressed? Maybe you grow from a home where the parents were irresponsible people, or where the parents were childish and petty and weak, and then you grow up fast to be a pseudo adult even when you are not ready for it. Because you have now become an adult, you have gotten used to carrying burdens, carrying responsibilities that are not yours, including blames for things that are not your fault. Are you this person who is always blamed for everything? Are you this person who always carries responsibilities for what is not yours? Are you this person that has become an expert at carrying the burden of other people? If this is you, how are you going to find happiness? Are you the one who your self-esteem is critically so low, and deep inside you do not believe you deserve to be happy unless given permission to be happy? Rather, you believe you must earn your way. You must earn the right to enjoy life. Are you this kind of person who is waiting to be permitted to feel like a human being? Are you this person whose self-esteem has been so cowed, it has been so reduced? You have been, Allah Akbar Kabira. You have been made to know that you have to prove yourself before somebody can love you. You have to work harder. You have to think faster. You have to edit every statement of yours so that you don't offend somebody. Do you have to work very, very hard and at trying to appear to be a good person because your partner doesn't even believe that you are good? They don't believe that you are lovable unless you earn being loved. They don't believe you should be cared for unless you prove yourself that you deserve to be loved. If you are this person, I think something is wrong. Are you this person who is raising their hand, waiting to be called to get up and speak, waiting to be given permission to enjoy good things of life, waiting on your husband, waiting on your wife to approve the fact that you can also smile, waiting on your husband or waiting on your wife to give you the permission that you can also eat what is good, that you can also express yourself, that you can also say something without being criticized, that you can also say something without being judged, that you can also be yourself without wanting to please somebody else. Are you this person who is also having a desperate need to control your spouse because you have experienced so much difficulties in life when you are growing up? Are you this kind of person who masks your efforts to control and manipulate other people and situations as being helpful? You are being manipulative, yet you think you are being helpful. You don't allow people to grow. You don't allow people to be themselves. In a way of trying to help them, you are actually killing them. You are trying to help your spouse. You are actually manipulating your spouse by proving that you are trying to help. For example, a case in point, a man may say, no, don't go to that school. Don't follow suit in your education. Don't improve in your learning. I have all the plans with me. Don't go to do that job. I have the wealth that can take care of you. Don't pursue your own goal. You should concentrate and focus on me and my family. Are you this man that is so controlling that nobody grows under you except the way you want it to be? And he will say he's trying to help her. You say, I'm trying to help you to grow. I'm trying to help you to concentrate. I'm trying to help you to focus. This is not help. I'm trying to help you to improve in your life. This is not help. I'm trying to make you to be more responsible. You are not helping him. Okay, this man has refused to get a job. He is broke. But I'm trying to help him by covering up everything that needs to be done in the family. I'm trying to help him by paying the bills. I'm trying to help him by settling the fees. I'm trying to help him by cooking and providing the food. As a woman, you say you are trying to help the man. You are not helping him actually. You are actually killing him. You are actually destroying him so that he will never learn to take up responsibilities. So that he will never learn to take care of his life. You are actually manipulating him to ruin his own life. When you begin to carry burdens that are not yours, you are not actually helping that person. You are actually making that person to wallow more in self-pity and self-destruction. It's like a child that wants to carry a load. You say you are trying to help that child to carry the load, whereas you are making the child's muscles to be very weak in carrying loads and assuming responsibilities. In other words, are you this person? You think you are actually doing help, but you are not really helping. You are actually killing the person. You are actually destroying the person. Okay, maybe you are this man that is trying to help your wife. You are helping her to the extent that she must not do any work. She must not do any job. She must not have any occupation. She must not have any hobby. You are trying to help her by providing everything she needs 150%. Lo and behold, she doesn't know how to earn a life. She doesn't know how to earn a living. She doesn't know how to be dependent on herself. She doesn't know how to be dependent on her own efforts, except your own effort. She becomes so dependent to the extent that if anything should happen to you, she's already ruined and destroyed. She cannot manage wealth. She cannot manage the home. She cannot manage yourself. She cannot manage herself. She cannot manage the children, because you have removed every sense of responsibility that will make her to grow. You have removed it from her in the name of trying to help her, in the name of trying to make life easy for her. So she has no ambition, she has no goal, she has no interest, she has no hobby, and at the end of it all, she has no way of contributing to your life, and you now blame her again that she's too lazy. Are you this kind of a person who, in a relationship, you are much more in touch with your dream of how things are supposed to be than with the reality of your situation? Are you this kind of person that is just living in fantasy? Allahu Akbar. Because you know very little about being happy in a relationship, and you have very little experience with having someone you care for to meet your emotional needs, that dream world is the closest you dare to come to having what you want to be given to you. What do I mean by this? You are just living in the world of dream. You are not ready to face the reality that this is not the relationship for you. You are living in a relationship as if this is a dream that is supposed to come true, not a reality that you are already living. And that is why a couple will have been married for 40 years. And the wife will still be saying, yes, it will change, it will change, it will change. After 40 years, she will be like, yes, it will change. After 40 years, he also will be like, yes, and my wife, she will still change. She will soon change. The reason why people do that is because, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. It's because they are living in dreams. You are still fantasizing about what you want to see happen. And you thought you could actually press pause on life so that you remain on a spot. Life will not be happening, and things will continue in that dream state of yours. I have a dream that one day my husband will show love and affection. I have a dream that one day my husband will begin to smile more. I have a dream that one day my wife is going to be the loving and caring woman of my dream. And some people live dreams far too much. And these dreams are already becoming nightmares for them. These are bad dreams that you are living. the realities have turned that dream into nightmares for you. Your whole of your life has turned to a horror movie because you are not ready to accept the realities of what is happening now. This man is a womanizer. But you have a dream of a man that is loyal and affectionate towards you. And then you continue to live that dream continuously while this man continues in infidelity. It happens the other way around. This man is a wife beater, but you still have that dream that someday you get to have a husband that will come back from work and give you a hug. But he's still a wife beater. And you are still living in that dream that is going to be a better person. Whereas your reality is that you are being abused and that you are being oppressed. When you are like this, I think it's time you get to wake up from that dream and begin to accept the realities of life. Is this you? You are addicted to men and women, and you are addicted to emotional pain. Let me mention this to you. Are you the one that is living an addictive life? You know what an addictive life is? An addiction is when you continuously and perpetually go into a kind of relationship. Let me use relationship as an example. Either with a human being or with a drug. And you know that this is hurting you, this is harming you, yet you persist in staying in it. It means you are so addicted to these things. Many couples now, they are not in love. They are only addicted to that marriage. You use your obsession with your husband or with your wife. You love to avoid your pain. You love to avoid your emptiness. You love to avoid your fear and anger. And then you now use your relationship as a drug to avoid experiencing what you feel if you held still with yourself. If you focus on yourself, you will see that you are going to face a lot of emptiness. So you use your relationship, you use your marriage to be able to cover up that emptiness in yourself. That is when we say you are addicted to your relationship. Are you that kind of person who is only living a life of addiction to a particular woman or to a particular man? Not love, obsession and addiction to things that are harming you, obsession and addiction to things that are hurting you, to men or women that do not care whether you exist or whether you die. You get so addicted to the extent that a small withdrawal, the way drug addicts experience emotional symptoms and physical symptoms of withdrawal after they have left that drug for a while, you see a whole lot of nausea, a whole lot of sweating, a whole lot of shaking, a whole lot of pacing, obsessive thinking, depression, inability to sleep, panic attacks, and anxiety attacks. These are some of the things people who have been into drugs, this is what they experience. But when you experience a withdrawal from that relationship, you feel these exact things. That means that relationship is an addiction. When your husband or your wife is away from you for a while, you are not supposed to go into panic attack. You are not supposed to go into nausea. You are not supposed to go into sleeplessness. You may have some longing for each other to reunite and to be together. But not that it's going to be so destructive to the extent that you cannot live, you cannot survive, you cannot exist without one another. That is not love. That is obsession. That is addiction. Are you this kind of person that's so addicted that, Allahu Akbar, the moment, as a man, the moment you leave that relationship, eventually, maybe the woman eventually even left you by herself, suddenly you get into panic attacks and you find your ways to return back to that same abusive relationship, or you are desperately in need to seek a new one that is in no way different from the one that you left or the one that left you. Are you that person? Is this who you are? We are going to talk about how you can fix yourself as you move ahead. By being drawn to people. This is another person now. I want to know if it is you. Are you always drawn to people with problems that need fixing? Or being enmeshed in situations that are chaotic, uncertain,
and emotionally painful? Do you keep from focusing on your responsibility to yourself, but you are drawn to situations and circumstances that will always put you on edge? This is what I mean by this. While you are very good at intuiting what someone else feels or trying to figure out what someone else needs or should, you are not in touch with your own feelings, and you are not able to make wise decisions about important aspects of your lives that troubles you. In other words, you are embroiled in drama. You are embroiled in problems that keep you from having to hold still and find out what exactly you want with your life. And this is why, Allah Akbar, this is why you cannot survive in a relationship that doesn't have problems. Many men cannot survive with a woman that doesn't give him trouble. If he sees a woman that will not give him trouble, he will not be in love with her, or he will send her away. Because he has problems with his life. He cannot focus on his life, so he looks for problems to focus on. He looks for troubled people to focus on. If it were a woman, she looks for a man that will constantly put her on edge. She will not stay with a man that will give her rest of mind, but a man that she'll be looking at the watch every time, looking at the clock. Is he coming back? When will he come back? Who is he talking to? Who is he chatting with? What's on his phone? Who just called him now? Who did he just speak with? At the end of the day, you have no life. You don't want to focus on yourself. You want to be monitoring your husband. You want to be checking out who are his friends. What clothes did he wear? What perfume did he use in the morning? And what perfume is smelling on him by the time he returns? You want to see how crumpled his dress is. He ironed it very well in the morning. Why is it so squeezed now that he comes back? When he came back, why did he frown? Why did he smile? Why was he looking like that? Why did he look angry? Why did he look sad? You are studying his face the way you study a holy book. You are editing his words the way you value the words of God. You have focused the whole of your existence on him. You can't survive, you can't exist, you can't think, you can't function without his problems. And so you don't have a life. The whole of your life is on him. Are you this person who doesn't have a life anymore? Who doesn't have a goal anymore? Who doesn't have anything to look forward to in life except to read the countenance of your wife? When she's sad, you are sad. When she's weak, you are weak. When she is laughing, then you can laugh. When she frowns, then you must frown. When she's confused, then you must be confused. When she's angry, then you should be angry too. When she's disturbed, then you must be disturbed. At the end of it all, you don't know the difference between your life and his life. You don't know the difference, the line between him and you, between her and yourself. You have subsumed yourself. You have thrown away who you are. You focused only on him, not on yourself. And at the end of it all, you begin to wither. You begin to fall sick. You begin to deteriorate. You lose your valor. You lose your esteem. You lose your beauty. You lose the step. You lose the verve. You lose the air. You lose the energy. You lose the goodness. And you lose your self-esteem. Because you don't want to look at your own life. You don't see anything worthy or valuable in your life, apart from the life of your partner. At the end of it all, the same person that you have devoted the whole of your life will now turn around and accuse you of being a leech, accuse you of being a parasite, accuse you of somebody who doesn't have a life, accuse you of somebody who has a low self-esteem, and this same person will begin to avoid you, and this same person will begin to abandon you, and this same person will begin to prefer somebody else apart from you. When you chase something, it runs away from you. Rather than you attract your spouse, you actually repel your spouse. Rather than for you to have a life that you can value and look forward to, you have jettisoned your own life and you are chasing and running after his own life. You want to care for him. You want to think about how he looks. You want to think about everything. You even want to start thinking for him and thinking on his behalf. Then he start looking at you as someone who is thoughtless and stupid. And then when you are stabbed back, when you are stabbed in the back, when instead of being appreciated, you are condemned. Instead of being praised as a loving and caring wife, you are condemned as a stupid and a leech. A woman who doesn't have any purpose in life. Then you feel bad, you feel sad, you feel betrayed, you feel left behind, and you feel depressed that people have treated you so badly because you never for once worked on your own value and made your own life to be better. Rather than attract your spouse now, you repel your spouse. Now look at it now. Are you somebody, before I begin to talk about how you can recover from this, I want to put it all together to say, are you somebody who is not attracted to men or women who are kind, who are stable, people who are reliable, people who are interested in you? When you find such nice people to be boring, when you find such nice men to be boring or nice women to be boring, then you begin to look for people that you can fix. When you see that you can't fix this man, you don't want to love him. This is very subliminal. Many people don't know that this is their problem. In fact, Allahu Akbar, when a man speaks to them about marriage, and they looked at him from north to south, and they wonder, what can I actually repair in this man? He's so good, he's so kind, he's so nice, he has things going in his life, he doesn't womanize, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs. He's so nice. He's so good. He's so kind. He's so complete. Then somewhere inside your head, you say you don't have chemistry. Something inside your head tells you that you don't have chemistry. But you prefer a man that doesn't pray regularly. You say, yes, inshallah, I will change him. You prefer a man who doesn't understand something. Yes, inshallah, I will teach him. You prefer a man who doesn't know anything about righteousness. Say, yes, as soon as he marries me, I know what to do. You keep looking for people you can fix. And when they don't appear to be fixable, you turn your back against them. It happens to men too. You will see ladies who are modest, ladies who are upright, ladies who are nice, who are kind, respectable, obedient, godly. He will not be in love with them. A lady that will say please before anything. A lady that will receive 1 penny and she will say thank you 10 times. A lady that will smile, a lady that will be kind, a lady that will be caring. He will not be in love with her. His chemistry will not go there. But you prefer a lady that will put him on edge. A lady that will be talking to him and chatting with other men. A lady that will make him to feel jealous. A lady that will make him feel miserable. A lady that will tell him that he should go to hell. That is the kind of lady you want. Is that you? Is that you? Now, whether you know it is you or not, haven't you seen men who have these ladies with all these qualities? They say maltreat them. They say abuse them. They say beat them up. You are beating a woman and she's on her knees begging you. Allahu Akbar Kabira. You are maltreating a woman and she will still come to kneel down to beg you that she's sorry, even when you are the one maltreating her. Are you that kind of a person? I know you are that kind of a person because unfortunately, you will not marry somebody like you. Have you noticed? Cruel men don't marry cruel ladies. Have you noticed? Wicked men don't marry wicked ladies that will give them fire for fire. Have you noticed? These men marry ladies that they will slap her and she will turn the other cheek. But they will not marry ladies that will say, look, if you ever raise your hand against me, you will sleep in cell tonight. If you don't go to cell, to prison this night, call me a bastard. No, he will not marry that kind of a lady. Are you that kind of a woman too? When after all said and done, it's exactly this kind of man that you are in love with. A man that will rubbish you. A man that you will greet and he will hiss to respond. A man that you'll be praying for, that Allah should help you to change. Allahu Akbar. May Allah have mercy on us. Now, if this is you, let me mention some hints on how you can recover from this kind of life that you found yourself. Number one, accept yourself fully. Even when you want to change parts of yourself, make sure you have accepted yourself completely as you are. There is a basic self-love and self-regard which you should carefully nurture and which you should purposely expand. You must love yourself. You must accept yourself. You may not be the most beautiful person in this world. You may not be the most good-looking man in the world, but ensure that you accept yourself first and foremost. Secondly, accept others as they are without trying to change them to meet your needs. Stop managing people. Stop controlling people. Allow people to take responsibility for their lives and their actions. Stop managing disasters. Stop managing disasters that you call wives. Stop managing disasters that you call husbands. Allow people to face the consequences of their actions, or else they would never learn from their mistakes. You have to realize that sometimes it is not your troublesome spouse that is not the right person for you. You might not be the right person for him. You want me to say that again? This is what I was explaining earlier on. You have to understand that it's not that this man is not the right man for you. It is possible that you are not the right woman for him. Why? Because he needs somebody that is as sadistic as he is. Not a masochist like you. He needs a partner, not a fixer. He needs somebody that can look him in the face and tell him the truth. Not somebody that will apologize even when she's been oppressed. Maybe this husband actually needs a wife that will tell him to go to hell once in a while. Not somebody like you that will be asking him whether if you go to hell, he'll be happy. This woman actually needs a man with iron hand that can control her. Not a man that will be at the receiving end, that will tolerate indolence, that will tolerate nonsense. Not a man that will indulge her. Not a man that will not be able to control her. Some women want a man that will tell her to sit down, and she will sit down. Some women want men that will be able to take charge of things. Not Mr. Nice Man that can't do anything. You may be complaining that your wife is stubborn. It's possible that you are not the right man for him. Your wife may need a man that can handle her. You may be complaining that your wife is arrogant because she's rich. It's possible that your wife actually needs a man that is richer than her, and a man that can control her and take charge of the home. Not a man that will be at the receiving end. Not a man that will be jealous and envious of the wife's progress. Not a man that will be cowed and afraid that the wife is progressing. Not a man that will be jealous and envious, such that he will be working against the wife. You are not the right man for her. If this woman wants to go, allow her to go and marry somebody else who can take charge of life for her. A man that has the mind, that has the mouth, that has the gut, that has the power, that has the ability to be able to put her through in her businesses. Not a man that will stop her from doing business because you are afraid that when she gets rich, you will not be able to control her again. People should understand this. Is this you that is feeling so low with your wife? That means she needs somebody else that should be her. Rather than bringing her down to be low like you, why don't you pep yourself up and meet up with her? Does anybody understand what we are saying? You have to realize that you have to be in touch with your feelings and attitudes about every aspect of your life, including your dignity as a human being. Maintaining your dignity and self-respect is non-negotiable. You must understand that. You have to cherish every aspect of yourself. Cherish your personality. Cherish your appearance. Cherish your beliefs. Cherish your value system. Appreciate and accept your body as you are. Cherish your interests. Cherish your accomplishments. Validate yourself. Rather than searching for a relationship to give you a sense of worth, make yourself to be worthy. Like we said the other time, If you don't know your worth, people will ask for discount. Yes, if you don't know how to cherish yourself, people will treat you like a trash. Regardless of who you marry, you should understand that you also have right to be respected as a human being. Your self-esteem is great enough that you can enjoy. And so enjoy your self-esteem. You don't need to be with other people before you have your self-esteem. Some people are fine just as they are. You don't need to be needed in order to feel worthy. It's not until you are able to render services to others before you understand that you are actually worthy. It's not until when people say thank you before you know that you have done what is right. It's not until when somebody appreciates you before you know that you are a good person. It's not until when somebody compliments you before you know that you are good looking enough. It's not until when somebody appreciates you before you dress well for yourself. Even when somebody doesn't see you, even when somebody pretends not to have seen you. I know of some ladies, they will dress and make all these designs you men put in your hands. And they'll go around in the house, waving their hands like this towards their husbands, so that you can see these designs and for once say, oh, that is lovely. Yes, but this man will not say anything. He will not see anything. He will not compliment anything. Many of the ladies, they will spend 4 hours with their necks tilted to one side, plaiting their hair, fixing their hair. 4 hours, her neck will be like that. She will fall asleep, she will wake up with headache while her hair is being fixed. Only for her to get home, remove her hijab and begin to do imaginary ruku so that the husband can see, so that the husband can notice very well. This man doesn't see anything. So what are you going to do? Because he doesn't see anything, would that make you not to feel good with yourself? Look into the mirror and say, Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, I thank you for the way you have made me. What manner of life is this? What kind of a thing is this? A man would do well, wear perfume, dress nice, inside the house, move around. But the wife will get stuck in the kitchen, as if that's where she was born. She'll get stuck in the kitchen. She doesn't see the husband. She doesn't compliment him. She doesn't recognize him. Is that why you will not feel good with yourself? No, you have to understand that you have dignity and you don't need somebody to tell you that you are worthy before you accept you are actually a worthy person. Allow yourself to be open and trusting with appropriate people, normal people, not crazy individuals in the name of a husband or in the name of a wife. You are not afraid to be known at a deeply personal level. Don't hide your emotions from people because you think they will not appreciate it. But you also do not expose yourself to the exploitation of those who are not interested in your well-being. Like I always say, never take your mirror to the market of blind people. They will never appreciate it because they don't even see, talk less of knowing what a mirror is. Respect yourself. Respect yourself very well and appreciate yourself on the deep level. Courageously, this is another thing you should do to fix yourself. Courageously face your own problems and your shortcomings. Look hard at your own life. Stop blaming others for your unhappiness and your misery while denying your own faults and wrong choices. Most of the time, when you see a man wallowing in regrets, oh God, why did I marry this woman? Oh God, why is this woman like this? Oh, why am I like this? Why did I do this? Blaming the woman for not making him happy. Blaming the woman for being such a bitch. Why don't you just wake up one day that was your choice? Why don't you just accept for once that it's your mistake? Stop managing mistakes. If it's a mistake, the first step for you to realize a way out or to realize what to do about it is to accept that this is your mistake. Don't blame anybody. In life, the more you continue to blame others, the more you continue to refuse to accept where you are wrong. When you know that you are the one that has sold yourself cheap to the other person, you stop blaming that person for pricing you cheap. When you realize that you are the one that actually doesn't have any value attached to yourself, it is then you realize that you don't need to blame the other person for treating you like you are valueless. I mentioned the other time when somebody complained A man actually, this time around, complained that the wife used to beat him. Honestly, he said it to me. He said, she beats me sometimes. She beats me sometimes. She beats me sometimes. Honestly, Ustaz. Because he says sometimes, a lot, I know she beats him a lot. Didn't you listen? He said she beats me sometimes, about 3 times. Affirmatively, she beats me sometimes. She beats me sometimes. It means she beats him a lot, and she beats him very well. You know, the default setting is, that's a bad woman. Why should she do that? Why should she do that? But the question I normally ask is, what kind of a man gets beaten by a woman? What kind of a man gets beaten? How you take position your cheek when she takes slap you? Wait, how did you show your cheek that made her to slap you? What kind of a man are you that the woman will look at you north to south and slap you? How did you present yourself? What kind of a man have you always been? And for such men, I always blame them. It's your choice. Yes. There's absolutely no secret. It's just this low self-esteem. It's just these wrong choices that people make and they don't want to accept. He wants to rather blame the woman for slapping him. He doesn't want to accept responsibility that he's the weakest of all men ever. He doesn't want to work on himself so that the wife will not be able to do that. What kind of a man gets beaten up by his wife? And what kind of a wife beats a man? May Allah have mercy on us. You should ask yourself, if this is you, you should ask yourself, is this relationship good for you? Does it enable you to grow into all you are capable of being? You should expect, you should require, and sometimes you demand that situations and marriage be comfortable for you. It is your right. You do not try to adapt yourself to fit uncomfortable relationships. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, you should demand that the marriage should be comfortable for you. Not that you should adapt yourself to fit into an uncomfortable relationship. And marriages are meant to be enjoyed. You know, I always say this. Marriages are meant to be enjoyed, not endured. There should be mutual interest, not mutual misery in marriage. We should both enjoy one another. Not that you have to start managing and enduring and suffering to fit yourself into a marriage. Rather, you should demand that the marriage should be able to accommodate you. Cultivate whatever needs to be cultivated. Develop whatever needs to be developed in yourself. Don't wait for her and don't wait for him to change before you get on with your life. Switch the energy to focus on yourself and expose what is good for your own growth. Explore what is good for your own growth. Learn to take better care of yourself. Learn to say no to please yourself rather than saying yes to please somebody else. Stand up for yourself when you should. Stand up for yourself when you would rather pretend it doesn't matter. No, stand up for yourself. Take the item. Go back to where you bought it and ask for refund instead of throwing it away and say, after all, it was cheap. Do you understand what I just said? Yes, ask for what is yours. Ask clearly for something you want and risk being refused. Ask first. Even if you are not going to be ascended to, even if you are not going to be accepted, still ask first. Then learn to give to yourself. This is another thing you can do to fix yourself. Learn to give to yourself. Give time to yourself. Give attention to yourself. Give material objects as gifts to yourself. As a man, buy new clothes for yourself. As a woman, when you go to bookshops or when you go to boutiques, buy hijab for yourself. Buy things for yourself, even if somebody is not going to buy it for you. Put your well-being, put your desires, put your work, put your play, put your plans, put your activities first instead of last. Put yourself before instead of after everyone else. This is one of the ways, or these are some of the ways through which you can fix yourself, and I pray Almighty Allah is going to make it easy for us. And finally, if all of this I've been saying is you, develop your spirituality, increase your faith, and acquire more knowledge. I'm not saying that you should only keep praying for a bad spouse to change. But for some people have been praying for a very long time. They have told Allah, they have told God what is wrong and what needs to be fixed, yet they are still miserable. There are people like that. Their husband will be doing what is wrong. People will tell them to go and pray. In fact, Allah Akbar, yes, for some people, their wives will be having boyfriends here and there, and they will tell him to be prayerful so that the wife can change. Yes. Doesn't it sound funny? They tell her, you have to be prayerful, you have to be patient, you have to pray. And then look at this woman, she'll go out from morning, come back late in the night, and by 12 midnight, she's still texting good night to the boyfriend. And some of them will be beside their husband, like they'll be kissing the phone. That's kissing their boyfriends good night. And when this man complains, people say, well, you have to be patient. You know some women are like that. And sometimes the women, she will be praying and fasting because of a man that is doing infidelity. Rather than people to call the man to caution, they will tell the woman to be patient and be praying. So you will pray and you will fast till you have ulcer for the man that is going around enjoying himself. This is not what I mean by spirituality. When I say a person should be spiritual, it means that you should calm down and don't carry the guilt of what is not yours. You should understand nobody is going to be punished for another person's offense. Nobody is going to be punished for another person's sins. Your spirituality is a source of strength in crisis. When feelings or circumstances are overwhelming, you need a resource greater than yourself to which you can turn. And when I say spirituality, I mean you should tie the camel and then trust in Almighty Allah. Consult those who are going to talk to the other person that you have. Don't keep quiet and be oppressed without reporting the errant person. And when the errant person has refused to change, don't let that one bring down your own self-esteem. If you are the one that is behaving like the masochist, and the saddest person is always feeding and feasting on your misery and trying to quench their thirst with your tears as you cry out of being oppressed, you need to make a change in yourself. If this is you, then you should know that you are not okay. You are not okay when somebody is not ready to make you an option and you have made the person your choice. You are not okay when you are being treated less than a human being. You are not okay when you are cowed by the person who should love and care for you. You are not okay when you constantly live in fear of the person you love and care for. You are not okay when you are always taken for granted. You are not okay when you love the wrong person. You are not okay when you show love and care for the person who shows you the opposite. You are not okay when you have to pray and pray for someone that is enjoying himself oppressing you. You are not okay when you keep it to yourself and you continue to suffer until you have depression. You are not okay when you stay in an abusive relationship without doing anything about it. You are not okay when you cannot demand for what is rightly yours. You are not okay when you cannot say no, when you really mean to say no. May Almighty Allah make it easy for all of us. So if this is you, you should look into yourself and see how you can change yourself and see how you can regain yourself, how you can put verve back into your life and how you can put life back into your existence. May Allah make it easy for me. May Allah make it easy for all of us too. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.